In this tutorial, we'll create users and security groups, then apply the security groups to the cabinets, drawers, and folders in the hierarchy to secure the documents. For more information about security, press F1 within DocuXplorer to bring up the help article. We'll create the users and security groups in the Applications Options menu. Click Tools, then click Options. Then click Manage Users and Groups. To create a user account, right-click on Users. Then click Add User. Enter in the user's login name. Then click OK to create the user account. To create a password for the user, enter it in the password field, then the confirmation password field. We can choose to make the user an administrator within DocuXplorer, disable their account, allow desktop internet access, or choose the level of access they'll have to the web client. We'll choose for this user to have read-write access to the web client. We'll also enter in the email address for the user so that they can use the self-service option to change their password. You can continue this process for each user by right-clicking and choosing Add User, or you can choose to import users and groups from a network resource if you'd like to import users from Microsoft Active Directory. Once we've created our users, we'll create security groups by right-clicking on Groups. Then choose Add Group. Enter in the security group name. Then click OK to create the security group. You can add users to the security group by clicking and dragging them to the group. Continue adding groups by right-clicking on Groups and choosing to Add Group. It's a good idea to create a group called Everyone so that users can have access to the shared resources within DocuXplorer, such as the Work folder and the Templates folder. To enable security within DocuXplorer, we'll have to enable the Login screen. Click Library, then click Login Required. There's also an option to use Network Login, where a user's Windows username would pass through to DocuXplorer and not prompt the user for password. Click Save and Close to save the changes that we've made. Since Login Required has been enabled, we'll have to log in to continue working within DX. Click OK. Since we didn't change the password for the administrator in the Manage Users and Groups screen, we'll use the default password, which is admin, A-D-M-I-N, in lowercase letters. To log in as the administrator, click OK. Now that we've created users and security groups, we'll begin applying it to the various levels of the library hierarchy. We can change security options and other properties of any part of the hierarchy in the library by right-clicking it and choosing Properties. We'll start with the top level of the library. Then choose Permissions in the left pane. So we can give security permissions to users and groups, click the Add button. From this screen, we can choose the users and groups we'd like to give security permissions to. You can select multiple groups or users by holding the Control button and clicking individual groups, or you could hold the Shift button and choose a selected list of groups. Once you've selected the groups to add, click OK. We'll see that the groups have been given read-write access on the library level, meaning they have read-write access to the entire library. What we'll do now is view and change security groups for other objects that are lower on the hierarchy. Click Save and Close to save our changes. Security is often changed on the subfolders within the Work folder so that departments or users can have a private folder to work within. Now we'll take a look at the permissions available on the cabinet level. Right-click on the cabinet and choose Properties. Then click Permissions. We'll see here that by default the cabinet will inherit the properties from the library. We can change the permissions for the cabinet by unchecking the Inherit Permissions from Library checkbox. Then click on Display Permission by Object so that we can see the different permissions on the cabinet, drawer, folder, and document levels. We'll click Show All Options so we can see all the granular options that we have on all these levels. We'll see here the specific options we can set for cabinet permissions, for drawer permissions, for folder permissions, and for document permissions. Now we'll close this window and apply changes to an object within the cabinet. We'll make changes to this folder and all its subfolders by right-clicking and choosing Properties. then click Permissions. We'll deselect the option to inherit permissions from the library so we can customize these settings. Then we'll choose to delete all of the groups that don't need access to this folder. Click Delete when a group is highlighted to delete the group. Once we've deleted all the necessary groups, we'll choose the option to replace permissions on all child objects, so all of the folders within this folder will also have the same security settings applied. Click Save and Close. The prompt here is to confirm that we'd like to replace the permissions on all of the objects within this folder. Click Yes. Now we'll check the security settings on one of the subfolders by right-clicking and choosing Properties. Then click Permissions. We'll see here that the options that we just changed have been inherited by this folder. We can customize this folder further by unchecking Inherit Permissions. And while we didn't lose the changes that we made, we can make more granular changes using the changes that we already have as a starting point. We can choose, for example, to have the finance managers modify permissions on these files by choosing the group and then changing the Modify Permissions checkbox. Click Save and Close to save our changes. Although we've only made changes to a few folders within the library, the same principle applies to any object within the library, where you right-click it, choose Properties, then after you click Permissions, you can make changes to that object or all the objects below it. This has been a brief overview of applying security from within DocuXplorer. If you would like more information about how security should be applied specifically for your organization's business process, reach out to sales or support and we'll be happy to get you set up in a way that fits your security needs. Thank you for watching.